let's take a look at our matchup. Reborn has Mehu as their offlaner, Apsar as their mage, Prem as their marksman, Suraj as their jungler, and for the observer is Asopa.
And for the Primes, Survivor will be playing as the offlaner, the Jiren. Oh, so after being beaten by Goku, he's going to be playing AOV now. We'll be playing on that mage role, Jaximus as the marksman, Zeus coming in from Olympus to play as the jungler, and John Rambo. Maybe this is son of Rambo, or is it his first name? I don't know.
I have
As
no
the
idea,
observer.
man.
Yeah, these are your players.
Yeah, when I heard the name John Rambo, I assumed he'll be like the marksman of the squad, because of.
True, but I mean, before Rambo does his thing, he has to like observe his opponent's area, the jungle where he thrives, and like using that Gatling gun of his. So his observer is very much understandable.
Yes, definitely. I'm really looking forward for this matchup as well, because every time a new series come in, it's always some sort of different priorities. Like, for example, okay, let's first pick the jungler, and then next up, let's first pick the Joker. Or you know what? Let's first pick the side laner, the Senial. So I've been seeing a lot of different priorities or different, it's such a colorful tournament, a colorful meta, if you will, here for Arena of Valor India. And I'm so looking forward to what will come up this time for Reborn and the Primes, because as you can see, we've entered into the later phases of the game for game number 3, which is so cool. But you know what? I think the draft is ready.
And the draft is ready. Let's get into the draft. For game number 1.
Yeah, game number 1. Again, this is the 3rd series for today. And it's going to be a best of 3 series. It's a single elimination, so whoever loses this is going to go bye-bye.
Superman, are we going to see you, the man of steel, the child of kryptonite, the son of Jor-El. Sorry, his name is Kal, but no, he's going to be banned. Get on out of here. Wait, hold that thought. Murad first. There's still 3 seconds on the clock, and it's going to be the Murad out of the count.
Yeah, the Prime should ban Superman unless they're tough enough to face Reborn with that first pick Superman. We have seen Superman effortlessly. Okay, come on, do it. First pick Superman, because I've seen how Superman is effortlessly creating all these plays. Maybe 5v5 team fights, or maybe laning during the laning phase at the side lane. May it be at top or maybe bottom, but it looks like it's gonna be the Zephys as the priority. This is what we've been talking about earlier. There's so many different things as what they want to pick first and what they consider important in their team, because it's really gonna vary depending on their key players and their play style.
Playstyle indeed, but I mean, bypassing all of that, I think is one of the strongest heroes right now in the meta, which is Superman. I mean, he can basically make any composition work because of how strong his displacement skills are, but none of these teams are going to be going for that, so we'll not question that any longer. Now we're just going to look at how their compositions are turning out. We see the Preda as well as the Joker, so you got yourself a nice combo burst with the Joker and some wave clear and I guess fight control with this Preda, and on the other side, lots of catch-offs having that Ryoma, Wonder Woman, and Raz, and utility from the Lindis.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried when they wanted to lock in something else, but I'm glad to see the Lumber on their side for Reborn, because I was worried about the lack of AOV CC. That was definitely going to be detrimental whether or not a team fight is going to work. 3v3 wise or rotation wise, it is gonna work, but at the same time it's very worrisome. But yes, they have Lumber, they have the Zenial for that side lanes as well. How about on the other side of the spectrum? What do you think about the Primes?
The Primes, on the other hand, I am liking their composition here. I mean, they have a 3-man composition that is good for initiations. Wonder Woman is kind of like a initiator fighter that she can actually pull herself into the fight and keep her opponents busy while you actually allow your Raz as well as your Lindis to kind of pew pew pew, just put out their offensive skill shots there, and you have extra supplementary crowd control with that Ormar. Ryoma, on the other hand, definitely a good offlaner who can basically 1v1 his opponents, and not really sure who's going to be able to win this, Ryoma or the Zephys. or yeah, Ryoma or the Zephyrs, or maybe Ryoma versus the Zenial because it's off lane. But I feel like Ryoma should be able to bully out Zenial long enough that at the very start he won't be able to get his level 3, and then they can actually force out an Abyssal Dragon. So I'm kind of looking to see something like that because Ryoma just has that potential with his very quick skill cooldown succession as well.
Yeah, I really think it might be a typical classic Ryoma versus Senil at the top for the matchup. It might be a Lindis jungle. We're gonna see and confirm that once we head on over to the game. But looking at the composition of the primes, it's actually pretty standard, except for the fact that late game wise, probably gonna have to rely on the Raz and the Ryoma as well. Lindis is definitely very sustained, consistent damage in terms of scaling. But one thing to note, maybe I'm looking forward to the rotation of Lindis, Ormar, and Raz as a very effective 3-man squad. Everything is complete. You have the poke, you have the jump in, you have the CC. So I'm pretty sure that's gonna be effective if executed well. On the other side of the spectrum, I'm really curious what they have in store, but looks like we're heading on to our game. So I'm gonna pass it to Luxuria and Aserai.
Hello, and I'm sorry.
No, you do it. I love hearing your voice. Go for it, man.
Oh, that's sweet. And there you go. There's a team fight. So this is all you. Go.
All right, this is a team fight. It's all me and Survivor are going to be pushing aggressively here as we go for the pause. What a great start here as we see immediately right from the get-go as the Primes go in for that invade. And my name is Astra. You already heard that. And of course, with me here is the lovely, luscious Luxuria.
Oh. I almost teared from that one. But hey, tearing and more aside. So I'm so sorry. Deepest, sincerest apologies. But okay, so we are seeing a really aggressive rotation coming out from Prime, taking away the Sage Golem and the Sage buff away from the side of Reborn. Although, that is what I'm expecting from the team comp coming out from the side of Reborn rather than that of Prime. I mean, they have a lot of damage, and you did mention, or rather, I think it was Riku that actually did mention, but Sopa.
Oh, Sopa is gonna get definitely scrubbed there in the bottom side as Lumber follows through. And, well, like you said, there is going to be that offense from the Primes, and it is showing. My goodness, they are just pushing out Reborn there.
Yep, taking the Sage, taking the mic, and a Sopa just picking up a Sopa. But here we do see the classic, right? So Ryoma at the bot lane, holding on would be that of Mehu on that Joker as well. So really good start from the Primes at this point in time, but it may just be similar to that of the previous game when, one team can have a better start, but they can just come back in the end. So it's just down to the Abyssal Dragon first take, and really that what we've seen so far really determines the flow of the game overall. Abyssal Dragon now is up. A team fight, a dance may just be happening around them.
So interesting to see. Nobody is gonna start that just yet. I think it's just because there's not really much level 4s coming out here, but now we're seeing just a quick replay right here, right now for that first blood. Ooh la la, and there you go. Ryoma gets that first kill, followed up, smack it down, no escape whatsoever. Abyssal Dragon will be taken here. Who will get that last shot? It's gonna be the Primes to secure that. A little bit slow in the rotation here for Reborn. Interesting to see that as, oh, actually Zenial is level 4 or level 3, so yeah, maybe it is just fine.
Yeah, the only reason that, I find it so odd from the side of a Reborn and how slow they are is because they have Zephyrs, right? Zephyrs, great scaling, but now just so much pressure coming out from the side of Prime.
Inside of Prime, definitely, just giving all that they can, all that they will to Reborns here, and of course, I won't expect anything less, but this is on a whole different scale. I mean, there is 3 kills already for the Primes here, controlling the Abyssal Dragon, and definitely starving the Zephyrs out will not be good for Reborn. This is going to be the ultimate from Zenial as he tries to go in, but oh my goodness, that knock-up coming in there from the Primes, the spin to win from the Ormar, and the lock-in will be real. Jackson is from downtown, gets the snipe down onto this unabiding Lost Citizen, which is the Lumbar as well as the Zenial, and they get 2 kills from out of nowhere. The Zenial going in, but, well, not really the best of go-ins.
Well, I mean, ratata, I have to give it to John Rambo here. I mean, putting in so much work as an observer, although we usually see, you know, an observer pretty laid back, chill heroes, players, but here we are seeing, you know, very active rotations coming out from Rambo here, just looking for every single opportunity. He's gonna go in for the dash. Mayhu.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a beard as glorious as Ormar, don't you want to let your opponent see how glorious that beard is? And he does it once again. The 6th kill goes in here for the Primes. And he actually was in very close quarters there, close call to actually being pumped out. But because there is no response from the other members here of Reborn, it's really going to be an easy peasy lemon squeezy kind of a deal here for Primes to get these pickoffs. And they're even going to be able to get another Abyssal Dragon here, although the Lumbar as well as the Pareto will be joining in onto the fight. Although Echo Slamma Jamma goes in, but Lindis gets the last hit. The Pareto wave or the Prey wave will chug them down very low, but at the end of the day, objective taken by Primes.
Yep, and on top of that, besides that awesome beard, John Rambo is actually using the super sad skin. So great muscles as well. You want to put it out there, like that Twitter page that we were on before the stream started.
Exactly.
But anyways, coming back into this game, the Primes looking very, very strong, sitting at 11.4 thousand for themselves. As for the side of Reborn, it is not they're not entirely out yet, right? They still have comeback potential. They can possibly steal 1 or 2 major objectives, and with that, try to force something. But yeah.
Lumbar running away activates his flicker just to get out of that 60, which actually no, he just tried to run away from that one, from that very dangerous situation. But lots of poke coming out here. They have the Raz, so he can just pump out those fire fists to chug or chip his opponent relatively low. And as you can see, they are going to be going aggressive into this one. John Rambo will be absorbing all the damage right here. The spin to win. Let him rip. The Beyblade goes in. The Pareto actually gets the kill here, but that's going to be a 1-for-1. Make that a 2-for-1 as Mayhu just becomes Mayhu. He just vanished. Where did he go? Oh, he's going to go to respawn point, and then, yeah, 8-2-1 in terms of the kills.
8-1, 6 minutes in, a lot of actions happening, and they are gonna focus their firepower onto this mid-tier turret, but not without a fight.
Oh, my name is Zephys, but that was not it. Oh, that was his moment there. He just dove in by himself, trying to replicate the Rambo, but you know he's an imposter. He can't do it just yet. And he basically just let a kill here. Interesting to see that Prime's not going for a quick Darkslayer. I feel like Reborn might not be able to spot that out, but go for the safe play. 3rd dragon of the game.
Yeah, ratata. Rambo comes in a little too late, not quite helping out with that dragon, but that doesn't quite matter at the end of the day. Ooh, they may just find him, but Rambo will be moving away. Really doing a really good job. I would not even call him an observer anymore, because he's not just observing, he's actually roaming, he's putting down work, he's mid-shielding, and he's letting it rip.
Oh, loving it. He is just, like you said, not observing, but he is smashing it. Counter smash, though, comes out from Lumbar as he pushes them out, but that was just a response to how the Primes are once again controlling this game. And you got to remember that in AOV, it's more about being able to set the pace of the game. And when you set the pace of the game, it's very difficult to kind of come back into that one, especially if you don't have heroes that have that, you know, that scaling into the late game, e.g. like a Violet. But of course, there you go, smash, and there you have it, a pickoff onto the Zenial. They set their sights onto the mid as the Lumbar and the Pareto is exposed right here, right now, but it seems like they're just going to be controlling that lane.
Well, they are doing a very good job in terms of their rotations. You know, for Reborn, it's almost as if, you know, Prime is everywhere.
No, hold that thought first, but Survivor not gonna be surviving. He goes down on that Wonder Woman, trying to be a bit greedy and get that top tier 1. I mean, you gotta give it to her. Her teammates have been doing quite well, so why not try to do the same for her side? But, or his side, or it's a Wonder Woman, her side. But still, it is gonna gravitate a couple of members of Reborn on the top end there, so it could be that Primes can destroy the bottom side here, but at the same time, the mid will be taken. 3 deaths already for the Primes as Reborn is starting to resurrect themselves from those discrepancies in the earlier stages of our game. 9 minutes in now, they are 4-12, but there is a possibility that they can go and contest this Abyssal Dragon once and for all. But Zeus Prime here is going to be looking at Afsar and just say to him, I'm going to poking you a little bit today and maybe a little bit later more. And as Sopa will be soloing this dragon by his lonesome.
Well, and the entirety of the Prime. I was talking earlier on. Oh!
It's a little bit close, a little bit close.
Sopa finally actually putting in work for the team, picking up the Abyssal Dragon, the first for the side of Reborn. This is starting to look like the rebirth coming through. A lot of firepower in this mid lane, trying to take this down. And let's see what would actually happen as they rotate down into the bot lane.
I think Asopa should be a Dedo Zeniello, and he became Jello. What just happened? He gets the shield, but Lindis with the range still catches him off guard. But look at this, the follow-up, the lumbar setup, and the Prado wave. Oh my goodness, 4 have gone down, make that 3 only, but they are looking for that 4th as Zeroma is trying to run away, skedaddle back into his bottom tier 2 turret there. But still, this is Reborn coming back with the resurrection, but now Wonder Woman looking to be the Amazonian that she is, looking for that 2v1 situation, but Ryoma doing the best that he can to defend this bottom tier 1, but it really not gonna happen, yo, as Wonder Woman comes in, transitions back into this side, and spots out the Joker, the villain, and is he gonna be smashing to get that Grillin? And no, the lumbar actually comes in and saves the Joker, does go down, and Asopa uses the ultimate just for good measure, but now take a bit of a breather. Ooh.
Ooh, you do really need that. I mean, that was a long team fight, and the Primes not really looking like they're in their prime anymore, with Reborn coming in and really quickly as well. The more the Prime actually just, you know, make more careless mistake, the better, the higher chance that Reborn can just come back. I mean, at this point in time, 26-27, earlier on, we are seeing a close to 5k gold lead, and the Reborn have just basically softened the gold lead into close to nothingness. So that is one thing that maybe the Primes have to work around. Do not over-invest. Firstly, do not tank towers with unnecessarily. Maybe that's one thing, and start to move as a team.
I mean, they are feeling a bit too ballsy on some of these occasions, but now the 5th dragon of the game has spawned into the field, and both of these teams are going to be fighting for this one. Zeus Prime's going to be going in. Goes in with the slash right there just to slow down the lumbar as well as the Zenial, but Mayhew is going to be on the sidelines pushing out the poke with the Joker, but at the same time, that give them enough space to actually get this Abyssal Dragon. Now at that perfect positioning there with this lumbar being out of position, as it seems like the Wonder Woman will be starting off the fight as she goes in. Lumbar ultimate activated there. They have to back off for the meantime, but the Zeph is coming into the backline as he actually goes in 3v1 mano-a-mano, but that's going to be Zeus Prime getting the kill onto the Zephyr as he was just a lone wolf in that team fight. Now there's going to be the initiation. See, the Prado wave will actually soften him up a little bit, but not good enough. As the poke comes in, there's going to be the follow-up from the Raz, and he gets more kills. 3 for the price of 1, and even that Abyssal Dragon, mwah, that is beautiful.
That was indeed, and the Prime, all they have to do is continually, wow, just play like this consistently, and just continue to play like this without actually without getting shaken. Firstly, because, you know, in the initial part, the mid part of the game, what happened was that the Prime, they were trying to go for those highlight reel plays, right? So they are trying to make plays, being very flashy, and thus Reborn found their footing, tried to scale that mountain, but ultimately failed, because as long as the Prime can work as a team, it is just so very difficult for the side of Reborn to come back from the ashes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of heroes here that Prime can use to kind of absorb or sponge that damage that, you know, Reborn can do. And Reborn can't really do consistent amount of damage. They can do only, how do you say this, laps of damage. They have the burst combo from this from this Joker and the Preda wave from World of Preda. So if they can bypass through all of that, or if they can survive through the initial usage of that, they can definitely just keep following on through. But of course, they still have to be cautious because that can still be their downfall. If Joker can find those juicy, sweet targets into the backline, well, he's gonna have a pretty dang good time. But man, what was that? I mean, I know the Joker is, criminally insane, but that was just criminally mundane here for that Joker for Reborn, as the Primes is definitely getting their prime time, going aggressive. 9-19 in terms of the kills, and almost a 7,000 gold lead here, Lasuria.
7,000 gold lead, not a big one. To be completely honest, we saw 11, we saw 12, but the plays that's coming out from the Prime at this point in time, they are definitely standing in that limelight in their prime time. So, with this in mind, Dark Slayer's gonna come back up soon. But before even that happens, what can they actually do? Will they be able to force a team fight? Will they be able to push through all of this? Because we saw, Afsa or Praetor basically putting out so much damage through the Praetor wave, like you mentioned, and on top of that as well, the killing joke from Joker just hurts and can put a dent on the teams itself, on the Prime. So this is... Excuse me. So this is just down to how the Primes would actually play now. True, they have good frontliners like that of Survivor on the Wonder Woman. They have Oma, they have Ryoma. But even then, it is not enough because we saw the burst early on. They do not have the likes of that of Lumber. So all they can do right now is look for pickups, which they are doing excellent.
Yeah, excellently indeed. But if Reborn, like you said, can do what they did, plus add that to put their backs on their Tier 3 turrets and kind of, congest where Primes will have to find their fights, well, it's going to be an even more difficult time here. So if they can actually kind of pick that out as one of the things that they have to be, to play around with, Primes can, find their stride. But for now, they have to actually make something happen in the mid side, and they are going to be going in Macho Imano, as there's going to be the Zephys coming in from the backside. He gets the Lindis, and they are following them through, chasing them down to infinity and beyond. 3 have gone down. They're still looking for the board, and maybe an ace here as Zeus Prime is running for his life. Run, Ryoma, run. Zenial going in for the dive smash in just to get that knock up, and Zeus, will he try to defend this mid tier 2 by himself? Nope, just give it. That's cannon fodder already, as he just goes back into the base to save and regenerate that lone hero by himself.
And this is what I'm talking about. Although they do not have consistent damage, but Zeus Prime, I don't think you want to be that. Oh, but he picks up one anyways.
What you gonna do when they come for you? He actually gets the legendary
status
there, but oh no, it's gonna be close. It's gonna be everybody that by himself. There's gonna be the Lindis. There is the protection on the core, so not a good amount of damage here from Reborn. They went and did the damage, and there is no big objective for Primes to take, no Dark Slayer for them, no core to actually push through, but this is their time. 30 seconds, 15 seconds, they can break that mid tier 3 and possibly go for that game 1 GG push.
Let's see if they will actually do that. This is the calm before the storm. Not so much of a calm, but this is what I'm talking about. Reborn, all they have to do, work with those bursts that they have. They have very good frontliners. They have got very good CC, but now they are pushing in to this high tier tower.
They want it, they want it, they want it. Are they going to be able to get it? It's the legendary, but they line up and they absorb every single one of that. Are you hungry? Because Preda is giving away free waves for you to take. Double kill for Zeus Prime, but at the end of the day, that is gonna be only John Rambo, the Observer, to defend, and Mayhu with this Joker has enough damage to go for it. Oh, is this gonna be it? They're looking for it. They don't have the minion wave just yet, and John Rambo has to do 1 versus 3. And he is going to be on the knife's edge looking for that. The Lombard goes in for the shots, but it's going to be a little bit tad bit too late here as Mayhu is starting to go on this core, and that with 1 more shot is going to be what is happening. That is
there you go.
Finally, it hits. Take it down. Yes. Game number 1 goes into the hands of Primes.
No, it is actually Reborn.
Oh wait, no!
That actually was
Reborn! I mistakenly said that because 1725. Hey,
I mean, back from the ashes, Reborn is just looking insane. There's just so much tank, right? Even Zephys, just look at Zephys' build right now. Although he's going for damage, but just look at this replay. All they are doing, concentrating on a burst. The entirety of the Prime is going in, but then Zephys just goes in for the backlines, clean up, and then it's just so tanky. Just look at Mayhu from the backline to the killing joke, and then Zephys picks up one. Gonna go for the third one, and there you go. That is basically the end of the game.
And that's what I was talking about. Like, if they just go and congest on that small area, the Preda becomes such a potent hero to deal with, having that wave of his just to hit multiple targets. And like you said, he has a lot of damage already. He just has to find that perfect spot for him to, to maximize that single wave that made it so worth for Reborn here to get that W.
Yep, and Zeus Prime did a good job here. This is not the game-ending push just yet. They actually had to back off because of the backdoor protection, right? So they backed off, but then another fight happened, and it just went down the same way. There's just such a thick front line for the side of Reborn that, basically the Prime just found it so difficult to actually break it down and tear it down. And what the Prime actually did, and that is what I was mentioning earlier on, is that they need to look for pickoffs, right? They cannot go in for a full-fledged team fight, especially in such a small and congested space. Because, I mean, they have got the CCs, true, they have got the damage, but they do not have the burst, the one-time, bam, and you die kind of burst.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been the Raz, but Raz is more of a harasser. He does have good damage, but he has to be all up in your business to kind of like be able to do that. And again, at this point, he really can, because everybody here from Primes would want to be in melee range. And again, there is just that good enough peel here with that lumbar with everyone else and Reborns that make it super difficult for any of Primes to go for that catch-off. And like I said, if they can't go for the catch-off, their composition kind of, falters through. And as you can see, this is Mayhu already setting up with his teammates for that grand finale push. And, well, Ormar, the best that he did was try to delay them for as fast as possible, but 15 seconds is a pretty dang long time when your core is that low. So anyways, it's going to be me now and Riku to break that down. So I'll let her talk first.
Yeah, during the early phases of the game, Reborn had a bunch of questionable decisions. Like, for example, during the mid lane, at the mid lane, where the Zephys just dove onto like 3 people, and that did not accomplish anything. But at the later phases of the game, Prime did so well with their rotations, aggressive rotations, forcing 5v5 team fights, even though, for example, during the jungle engages, everything was complete, all their kits was complete, and that's the reason why they could strong arm their way every time they visit the jungle, or for example, they're trying to siege down towers. And all the objectives, even the Abyssal Dragon, almost always on their side. The problem is, whenever we reach the tower defense phase, as I call it, when everything is almost taken down, only the high ground turrets or the towers that's left. And late game comes, you're up against a Preda and a Joker, which is so explosive in terms of damage already. When everything is lined up, it's just so difficult to deal with and easier to clean up when all of you are lined up.
All right, so let's get into the second draft. Let's see if, the Primes can come back from this one, or will it be Reborn to basically sweep this best of 3?
Yeah, obviously your power picks are Joker, Preda. It has been a huge trend already based from the series that we've witnessed for day number 2. But at the same time, Zephys was also somewhat effective at certain phases of the match, but Murad as well being the priority here. Let's see if during the second rotation for Reborn, perhaps they might lock in a Senil, maybe a Ryoma as well. Ryoma, Senil, maybe Preda. I guess that's also a good answer, as they will lock in a very, very important power pick.
Yeah, such comfort for this Preda, just because he's one of those few heroes who can actually slow down the pace of the game when you're actually on the back end of the match here, and because of his Preda whip. So I think this is more of what Reborn kind of tries to, how do you say this, get for themselves, just so that they can, you know, prolong that the particular match. Anyways, the Primes will still be going up against, will be going for that strat that they go for, which is all up in your business with that Murad, Wonder Woman, and Raz. Reborn here kind of be picking again with the Joker. They're pretty comfortable with this one, and Lubu for a little bit of that off-lane power as well.
Yeah, I mean, Lubu is one of the very popular side lane picks actually, and this is gonna be actually the first time we're gonna see a Lubu pick on the stream, I believe, or maybe today number 2 at the least. But a Slim's pick, that's gonna be another first time, I suppose. Slim's not very popular, but very good in terms of getting the early game picks and a lot of mobility as well as a marksman. So at least consistent damage is gonna be there. The same thing as Melindez, but again, the utility is so much different. Teamy is, again, a very effective pick just to speed up your spikes a little bit more. Also, your engage is there as well. Plus, safety with being a bro. If everybody tries to go all in, try to save that marksman, try to save that Joker, save that Preda. Because honestly speaking, Murad is gonna give Preda a very hard time, especially during the laning phase.
Yeah, so definitely agree with you on all ends there. Another thing that I kind of liked here is that you did say that Slims isn't really that strong right now, but good in pick-off potentials. Another thing here is at least now they have a dedicated marksman. I believe a while ago, the Primes did not have their dedicated marksman, so...
Lindis, they had one. Yes.
Okay, so they have a much more damage-oriented marksman. Sorry, I think of this more of like a skill shot hero who kind of like goes in for, you know, for utility. But again, that should just be me. But I feel like Slims is much more better in being an offensive type of hero here. Again, he has a pretty nice catch-off with his stun on that javelin that he tosses. So that's going to be pretty good for initiating the fights, especially if you kind of want the Raz and the Murad to have an easier time of locking down onto a target here. And of course, once the game tries to scale up, Slims is not too shabby in terms of the damage department when he goes in for his attacks. It's pretty dang good. I mean, if memory serves me correct. And I think I just like this more than the Lindis pick. But yeah, that's just me.
I think one of the things that we've noticed recently is how the game's already reached like 20 minutes. So compositions like a Preda and a Joker, I lean towards them more just because they're always allowed to have that space to grow and reach their item spikes and just overwhelm the opposite team for damage. And especially tower defense mode, it's just so easy for them to line things up. But you know what? We're ready for the match, so I'm going to send it over to Luxuria and Aster.
Okay, so this is the awkward silence that I've been waiting for, but go ahead, Asteroid.
Yes, it's now me, Asteroid, with the lovely, luscious Lieutenant. Luxuria, never mind. I don't know what... But, well, it's not going to be an L right now, but a F, which is the first blood taken by Reborn. But look at this from kind of the side lane, from the mid lane. They're going to be contesting this one as it is pure pandemonium, contesting that Sage Golem. And they're not even pinning down the Golem itself, just going in for these tag-ins. And the teamy, Ahsoka, just going in 1v4, the man himself, the Brusco, the Brody, you can actually be able to absorb all of that damage. But because of that, the Primes is capitalizing on all of these aggressiveness. John Rambo, very low in HP, but the Killing Joke will not connect up into him as he backs away just in time. 3 for the price of 1.
Well, this is looking like the Prime's gameplay all over again, really strong in the early game in terms of engage. And that makes sense, right? When you have a Slims on your team, you have the big stun, you know, that when you connect over a farther distance, you actually get a longer stun. So that is one thing that the side of Reborn have to work with. But I have to agree with Riku, you know, here that I'll have to side, you know, that of the Reborn, because it seems like to me that the Primes are finding it really difficult to actually clean games out. So there we see a Sopa actually getting caught by Pratata, but they will be backing up.
Yeah, I feel like Timmy is just one of those heroes who can, you know, kind of just be that annoying person who can just go into the middle of the fight, and if you don't have enough damage, he can just skedoodle away. And once he hits that level 4, being a bro, he can, you know, just activate upon himself, possibly revive, and then you basically waste your time while allowing his teammates to go for these really big objectives. Speaking of big objectives, Abyssal Dragon will be the next one here. Who's gonna get the death? And it's gonna be the Ryoma. Nice break wave there just for that exit out, just to get that good amount of damage, and he follows through. John Rambo very low in HP right now as that Joker is looking for the sidelines, going for the combination, and gets the kill onto the Murad. No escape, no surrender, no mercy. Mayhu gonna be following up once again with the Ryoma once here to actually put the pressure on, to give more space to actually allow his teammates to push on the sidelines, and it is working. 5,500 to 6,000 in terms of that gold.
Yep, the 500 gold lead, not much, but for the side of Reborn, it actually means a lot. I mean, if they have got the early game, they get to the item spikes much faster, but Zeus Prime here trying to take back from what it's taken, but Survivor trying to find Suraj here.
Yeah, but the biggest problem right now is that Suraj is very strong and impressive with this Lubu. Lubu is one of those few heroes who has that kind of triple follow movement speed, movement skill and damage with that slashes of his, and it kind of just outscales a lot of his matchups, and it kind of shows here. Now there's gonna be another combination there, and it's just not looking good at all.
What was that?
I mean, 4 kills at the start of the game, and Reborn is looking pretty dang strong in this second match here.
Yep, they are looking very strong. It's as if they came back from the ashes and they are now looking to push into this mid-tier turret. We saw a very long stun coming out from Jessima's Prime earlier on, but it didn't just do much at all because there was not so much of any follow-up. But if you were to ask me, I personally think, they actually let the Might Golem go over. The Joker probably thought that, you know, the ultimate will pick it up, but it just didn't. But anyways, so what Reborn is doing right now is that they have the confidence from the previous match. They know the playstyle of the Prime, and they need to play in accordance to that, not reactionary, but more so of in accordance. So, right, so we have John Rambo right now on the number. They know he's got a CC hit, but they know they have got more damage, and they can scale much faster with a Sopa on Timmy.
Yeah, plus, he actually misused his ultimate there, so they know that he can't counter-engage once they start to actually go aggressive just like this. They can possibly go for the dive right now, but because they don't have a wave to work with, they're immediately just gonna go in for this Abyssal Dragon. John Rambo, on the other hand, no ultimate for this man, so he's just gonna basically be cannon fodder in the front line. But looking on the other side of the map here, Suraj is getting caught out as Survivor, gonna be surviving, going to go in and chase down on this Lubu with the lifesteal, activates the ultimate there and shuts him down. But this makes it so that there is gonna be a 4 versus 3 in the bottom side of the jungle, opening up a couple more juicy targets for Reborn to actually get up against. But that will be a 2 for 2 in terms of the exchange. But more importantly, Abyssal Dragon once again into the hands of Reborn.
And I personally think why, you know, Slims is no longer like a good pickup, and it's simply because he is so single target, right? Yeah, you place him in the mid lane, you're trying to get him up to level, trying to get his items up as well, but ultimately you are still a single target MM and marksman, and that is just not working well for the current meta at all.
Ooh, Murad, is he gonna be so sad? And that's so bad. Not getting the kill, actually has to go back after his initiations there. And on the upper side of the spectrum here, there's gonna be a fight onto the top side for that Sentinel, and it seems like the Primes will be getting that consolation prize for themselves, keeping that gold lead not too high in their perspectives against Reborn. Here and now, there's going to be a 4-man rotation from the Primes onto the top side. They're seeing the Lubu, or rather the Teamy here and the Ryoma. They spot him out. Mayhew goes in for some pretty nice amount of poke, and here he comes, the Joker himself. Murad actually the ultimate there, but the damage is gonna be real as they follow up, and the double kill for the Joker. The killing joke was real, and now they just go in and collapse onto the remaining members. They got no damage, they got the crowd control, but no damage to be had as the survivor gonna be lone surviving here, gonna be chased down as Reborn goes in and pushes them out, gets the objectives from the camps, and maybe a Dark Slayer? Nah, they're just gonna be going for that mid-tier one.
Yep, mid-tier 1, Dark Slayer, Abyssal Dragon, all is up for the taking. Survivor here trying to go in for the 1v4. Can he, she, Shim actually survive?
I don't know, but I think he was able to survive, but Ahsoka with that being a bro, again, you have to work around that ultimate. If you get the kill on that, you have to be fast to follow up because he will revive himself in a short while. Joker here gonna be rotating to the mid, but immediately dodges the ultimate of John Rambo there. And after all of these engages, you gotta take note that most of the members of the Primes hasn't still hit their level 10, and for Reborn, they're hitting level 11, level 12 already, and that is a huge thing to point out, especially in a fast-paced game such as AOV.
Yep, and one thing is that, you know, how difficult it actually is to actually dodge out 2 machine guns, right? But here we see John Rambo just not quite hitting those big ultimates.
Yeah, no ultimates for him, and the Abyssal Dragon once again. We keep saying Abyssal Dragon, Abyssal this and Abyssal that, but it is such an important objective because it gives global ultimate plus, or global gold rather, plus a huge chunk of experience to actually, you know, get yourself even more advantage against your opponent. Jackson's Prime is very low on HP here as Zeus Prime will be starting off the fight. Nice ultimate there with the Murad, but no follow through. There is a little bit of that wall that they have to go around, but it's not really what you want, what position they want to play in. And the Prey away.
Oh!
Why? Delilah. Oh my goodness, he did not check that properly. Mayday indeed. And now the Lubu in a 3v1, but immediately gets the help from his comrades. And there you go, wipes the floor with that Raider Wave. Jaximus Prime way out of position. The follow through, he goes in for the chase, and Teamy not giving a damn about the world as he goes in. Does he get the kill? I believe he did. And this TV is going insane. He is a knight working, or learned to be remembered as his teammates get them tier 2. He does use the being a bro to revive himself. He does go down, but it don't matter because his teammates got everything that they wanted.
Yep, they got the dragon, they got the tower, and they are sitting in a very, very comfortable position. Dark Slayer, however, is still up for grabs. So Reborn at this point in time looking very different, looking like the late game them in the previous game, you know, currently at least. But here we do see Prime actually struggling against this aggression coming out from the side of Reborn, and that makes sense. I mean, that makes full sense because in the previous game itself, Reborn was playing just so very passively, just reactionarily, if it even is a word. And here we see Abyssal Dragon once again up, and Reborn, no doubt, smelt it, went for it.
Yeah, they smelt it, felt it, and now they get it. And well, there was John Rambo there on this Lombard to kind of may possibly contest that, but the other members of Primes were just a tad bit far away. They couldn't really get into that area right then and there. And as you can see, there was a little bit of that death rush being prepared by Reborns. They find a survivor here, and he is just being slowed to death. Can he even get away? He charges through and just hopes for the best, and they get themselves that teamy. But once again, the revival is gonna be real here. The Praetor Wave, and they are hella super freaking low. Now they can decide to maybe go for this mid-tier or go for that Dark Slayer, which is I think a better prospect here, as the Preda is good at keep away. If they actually follow through, he just lines it up with the wave and the Lombard. Oh, he goes down and say goodbye. Murad is trying the best he can with that temporal turbulence, but at the end of the day, there is not enough damage in this world to make Reborn second guess what they are doing right here, right now.
Well, I mean, the sheer amount of damage coming out from Reborn is just so very fascinating. I mean, in a previous game, they could have done the same thing, all in all. But they just didn't, they couldn't because they were afraid. But now they just found their confidence. The stun lands as with Murat's ulti.
Oh, Doka is gonna try to get away, and he does. The heal is gonna be real, and he's just gonna be out of that ordeal. And there is the stun coming in from the Slims, looking for that really tight angle, but it's not gonna connect for that particular situation. And as they have some difficulties with that mid-tier 3, why not just go in for the bottom tier 2? It's easier. There's much less contingency, or rather tightness here for them to kind of worry about, and they can just allow this Predator to set up these side waves. And look at that, just looking good with that side wave, and boom, Lombard did not know what hit him. He goes down in another Predator wave. I keep wiping my face because I can't believe what is happening right now. That Predator is on a whole different level as they get that bottom tier 3. Follows up onto Wonder Woman as he is in their sights right now. They're looking aggressive, pokes it in, and he gets the kill onto Zeus Prime, or rather, yes, on Zeus Prime, on that Slims, who was just trying to save his teammate. But at the end of the day, it's just gonna be them looking for more objectives here. Mid-tier 3 should go down, and that core is exposed. And ladies and gentlemen, we are looking for a 2-0, unless the Raz and the Wonder Woman can do what they do, and that is to defend. It seems like that's not gonna be the case, and this is just them getting 2-0'd by Reborn.
Well, you may be a survivor, but that doesn't win you games. Reborn definitely coming back from the ashes, knowing what they want, knowing how they should play their team comp in the second round, and they are just looking very, very strong. Maybe they could have applied this in the first game, but they were just too afraid, too shaky, too lack of confidence, if anything at all. I mean, just look at the gameplay. It is almost perfect. Yeah, they gave a couple of kills here and there, 8 kills, in fact, to the side of the Prime, but it was just at the beginning when the Prime, they just went in really aggressive and just basically caught that of Reborn off guard. But here we see the moment Reborn gets on the steps on the accelerator, there is really nothing that's stopping them. Just looking at this replay itself, we are seeing Praiser just putting in so much work, as well as Sopa.
Yeah, I mean, basically it's a landmine. You have to see where your footing is when going up against the Predator, because he just basically eats a whole line, and that line is wide, and you just see it right there. They have to be careful with their position, their footing, and they didn't really do it. And I believe this is the point where the Predator goes for another wave, and then oof, yeah, there you go.
Sayonara, good night and goodbye.
And goodbye, but now good hi. And we're back on camera. Now Riku wants definitely to break that down even further.
Yeah, I mean, that looked like a very clean game for the side of Reborn already. They're so confident. Like, coming from game number 1, it seemed like a very equal matchup, but looking at game number 2, it looked so well done. The Slims, for me, was okay. It's not the best pick, but at the same time, looking at their draft, it's not a very good composition if you want to play from behind, just in case plan A doesn't work. Murad, you have to keep him going. You have to land kill after kill. Try to take advantage of your early game burst with the temporal turbulence. We did not see that at all, mainly because Reborn just did not allow that sort of play to happen. They were always in first in terms of making the kills and creating the space just for the objectives. One thing to note is that I did mention that they're not really good in terms of playing from behind because they don't have wave clear. Wave clear is so important, but having the Raz, I feel like it's not a very effective. It's not very AOE. There's no AOE at all in comparison to the Raz, and so I feel like that's one weakness to spot out in their composition. They do have a lot of peel though, but I feel like it was already too late, even if they wanted to fight back.
Yeah, and I mean, it could have worked well if the Prime here, or the Primes, could have actually gotten their stride early. But the problem was Reborn started the game, and again, AOV is a game of tempos. They started their tempo so early on. They pushed back. They fought for that Sage Golem, and they got what 3-4-1 at the very start of the game. And or rather, I think that was it was I think Reborn who got that 3-4-1 immediately from the get go, and it just set themselves up. There was not much that the Mora can do in terms of the jungle, and you saw that he was having so much difficulty in trying to get his damage to come online. At the other side of the spectrum there, the Slims I thought would have been a good starter for them to kind of like initiate the fights, but I feel like they're not that adept with using the Slims in the particular matchup against Reborn, and because of that, he became more of a liability than what they would have had if they had the Lindis. But still, it could have gone either way. But Reborn played that so freakishly well. They set up properly for the Ryoma, or for the Preda, and Joker was just having a great time on the sideline.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you look at the marksman matchup, Joker versus the Slims, obviously explosive damage, burst damage. If I one-hit combo you, and it's just an explosive amount of hurt on towards Prime. But if you look at Slims this time around, it's more like consistent damage, and I'll just keep. It's a slower way of hurting people for Slims. So if you combine everything on Reborn side, it's just really well executed. If you combine it as well as good early rotations, just to try to shut down the space needed. Because we did mention, if you're playing a Slims comp early game, we're going to be expecting picks here and there. But right now, but from what you see earlier, it's not working.